FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Clarey Lutz. It's January 13th, 2020. That's 2020. Well, next guest got a new book coming out, How Not to Be a Millennial. I don't know if it's something you're born with or it's a choice or a lifestyle decision. I'm not sure what, but our good friend, Captain Capitalism, a.k.a. Aaron Clarey, is with us now. Aaron, welcome back. So another book in the pipeline, eh?
Yeah, it's been a while, and I've been meaning to write it, and finally had the time, a little break in the clouds, and decided to bang this one out. So I put that's the newest project I'm working on.
So how do you not be a millennial? Like, how do you become a millennial? Obviously, it's a state of mind, right?
Right. Well, there's a specific years and range, and no one really has it down. But, roughly between the ages of, your younger 30s to your younger 20s, you're considered a millennial today. Mm. But it's not being born within that. What it is really looking at the millennial generation and what, quote unquote, we, the universal we, did to them in terms of raising them, telling them what to do. How did they become this way? And you basically say, okay, well, let's not make that mistake again. You got these poor kids; they're debt laden, they can't find jobs, they have worthless degrees. All this horror. I mean, it's bad, Clarey. I've pulled one chapter is just all the economic empirical data, and we have never had this underperforming of a generation, arguably in the history of Americans. Of course, the data doesn't go back that far, but basically, it's not that high of a hurdle on how not to become a millennial. You stay out of debt. Don't major in stupid stuff. You shut up if you're younger and listen to your elders instead of thinking you know everything. But in a tragic irony, they did listen to their elders. So as much as it may sound like this is a scathing criticism of millennials, there's actually, it's more of a scathing criticism of all Americans in terms of how we raise children, what we tell them about the future, how we shield them from the real world in the future, embellishing entitlement, helicopter parenting. So that's basically, it looks at the millennial generation and says, do you want to become this, for future generations? No. Well, here's what we did. Here's how it's connected, we ended up with this end result. And, for the sake of future generations, let's not do it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, obviously something went very wrong with these millennials, although I have to say my kids, 3 millennials, all doing amazingly well, but I would like to think they're the rule, but they're really the exception.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. And it's not like we needed some kind of sociological research or study to figure it out. Humans have known this forever because we've been on the planet 2 million years. We've had trial and error. We don't need these social scientists saying, don't spank your kids. We got a different, better. We all know, you need fathers around. That's a huge variable. The presence of a dad. Ideally, it's in a nuclear family. I know that's not fashionable nowadays, but it shouldn't be any surprise that kids who come from broken homes tend to do worse. I don't know how long I've been siring the bells on this one, but tell your kids the truth about their choices of their degrees in education. Don't, the money will follow and hearts and love and pamper you. You're like, no, you're not going to major in political science, kid. You're going to become an accountant or something else. And, and I'm not paying your way through college if you choose a stupid degree. So it's not rocket science, but it does take some spine in today's world, especially on the part of parents, to ignore what is politically popular, ignore what people say. If you're a perfect example, your kid comes home and says, well, I think I'm a sapiosexual. Well, no, now you got to grab your kid home and say, look, when you turn 13, we'll talk about that. But right now you're 7, your teacher's full of bull. So it takes some time and investment, and above all else, a spine, especially on the part of parents, to be honest with their kid. And I think that's the biggest hurdle. You have fear of being politically incorrect, or maybe they themselves have been indoctrinated and brainwashed as parents. Just telling your kids the truth, oftentimes just telling them no, that would have solved a lot of these problems. But we really just pampered and lied to the millennial generation in terms of what they could expect out of life and what they're entitled to.
Yeah, well, it's so true. They're like a really spoiled generation, even more spoiled than my generation, the baby boomers. And we are the most narcissistic and downright stupid generation coming on the heels of the greatest generation. It's really very sad. So don't take on debt. Don't, if you're going to take on debt to go to college, make sure it's no more than 1 year of your income after you graduate, right? If you're going to take it off.
Yeah, it's a general rule. And, Lord knows what the rate tuition prices are going up. But it's basically debt, whether it's a college degree or a house or anything else, is if you're going to take on debt, it should be for an investment. That's why I don't recommend you lease cars. You take on debt for cars aren't an investment; they go down in value. Borrowing money for consumer purchases, those are things. That's just money down the drain. But you can take that on for wise things if the rate of return is higher than what the interest is on your debt. So if a perfect example would be medical school or dental school, that's very expensive, but likely your rate of return is going to be higher than the interest on the sizable debts you're going to take on. But if you go, you want to go, I love this school called Middlebury. It's the most pretentious.
Yes, I know it.
Bloviated.
Oh, I know kids that went there. It's disgusting.
I mean, it's just this, we're just a better brand of humans. It's like, and I think it's like $50,000 a year. Now you spend $200,000 and plus then living expenses, let's say $300,000 for a degree in, I don't know, poetry. That's not an investment. That is the most luxury consumer good you've ever bought in your life, and it's simply not going to pay it back. So you can go into debt, but like anyone with their financial salt will tell you, make sure it's invested, that you're going to get a rate of return.
Right. Yeah, well, majoring in puppetry probably not going to lead to a long-term future. On the other hand, there is this little hazy thing that kids that go to college, get a degree, generally earn more than those that don't. Even though most kids who go to college and graduate in a major don't usually wind up actually working that major. They're doing something else. Employers are like, you think they're still going to pay this premium to college grads in the future?
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Otis Gold Corp is a gold development and exploration company with quality projects in the pro-mining state of Idaho. Otis's flagship Kilgore project has a resource of 961,000 gold ounces, and its recently published preliminary economic assessment demonstrated an impressive post-tax IRR of 53% at $1,500 gold. In addition to the significant expansion potential at Kilgore, Otis is exploring its highly prospective Oakley project. This Carlin-type gold deposit already has an inferred resource, and previous near-surface drilling intersected 123 meters of 0.69 grams per ton gold. Otis Gold Corp trades in New York under the ticker OGLDF and in Toronto under the ticker OOO. That's triple O. To learn more, go to otisgold.com. That's otisgold.com.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
No, what they're finding out, and this is the employers are getting hip. They're getting wise here, and they're finding out that if you hire some social justice warrior major, not to introduce it, you are hiring a liability. So they're sticking with your STEM and your Italian, and on top of it, they need people with a skill to do the job. So liberal arts majors and social science majors are just up a creek. But there's the added legal risk of having someone who's prone to sue, views themselves as a victim because that's how they're indoctrinated in school, and on top of it has no degree. So a lot of the not as universal as it should be, but a lot of employers are bringing back training programs. I don't know if anyone remembers those.
Right. Yeah.
They're also Google, even some of the more quote unquote progressive companies. In this one regard, they're progressive in this way. They're not requiring college degrees. Like, do you have the programming skills? Do you know how to code? Do you have this certification? You do? Well, we don't care if you have a degree or not. I also think Gen Z, not Gen Z, I'm sorry, Gen X, if anyone remembers that generation, they are around. We hide in the shadows.
Small generation, low key.
Yeah, they are now managers and starting to head up corporations, get into that managerial class, and they don't like working in the office. They know how to use the internet. They remember going to college and what a waste it was. And so I think there's going to be a change, whereas, a degree was a good degree, yes, for the boomers back in the 60s and 70s, because it was so uncommon. Now that managerial class among employers is either retiring or no longer working themselves, unfortunately dying, you have a new philosophy, new managerial philosophy, predominantly headed up by Gen X, where they're like, yeah, you don't have to commute. We don't want to pay office expenses for something that you can do at home. So we're getting rid of that. Telecommute. We don't want to see you. We don't need a college degree. We got college degrees. They're worthless. They're pointless. We don't want to deal with that. And now with millennials, especially, I'm very curious how Gen Z will come out, because they've been brought up with nothing but smartphones. And they're going to ask the question, why do I have to go to work? They simply won't do it, Terry. Yeah. They won't even bother commuting. I don't blame them. Like, why would I commute? I went to school online. I met my girlfriend online. I've had sex online. Why do I need to go to work in a physical location? Everything's online now. So I think that paradigm will definitely shift and be kind of a silver lining to this otherwise dark cloud.
I totally agree with you. It's so funny when you say that there's that spoof on YouTube where the millennial is applying for a job, and he says, "Can you do research?" And he says, "Yeah, like, well, do you use what database you use?" I just ask Siri to find it for me. And it's absurd, but there's a lot of truth to it here, Aaron. So is this are we hopeful here for the millennials, or we think that they're too far gone?
No, they're too far gone. The average age of a millennial is 30 now, and after a certain period of time, there's no getting them back. The one thing I look at is the tremendous amount of infrastructure and money and time and investment that went in to programming them with what I call the millennial political religion, which is more or less socialism, but it's tailored to give you false value. Like, oh, I'm an environmentalist, I'm vegan, or I'm a pacifist, or I'm organic. So they have this surrogate fake value in life. Right. And when you spend 6 years getting a master's in puppetry and you work as a barista, all you have left is your politics. There's even a section in there I talk about politics being the last refuge of a scoundrel. And that's sadly all the millennials have. And sure, I mean, there's certainly some independent-minded millennials. Everybody, there's different people among all different generations. And there will be some millennials like, I'm sick of this. I've been lied to. I'll tell you this. They hate the boomers. They hate the fact they were lied to. But I don't know if it's enough for them to shuck their indoctrination they received and to start thinking critically, like, oh, maybe I should go back to learn how to program, or maybe I should become a CPA.
Be a plumber.
Wait a minute.
Or be a plumber or an electrician,
Well, and my favorite is they might even, here's what will be hopeful. If they can finally realize that the people that screwed them over were the Marxist leftist professors who stole all their money, and instead of asking conservative, libertarian, capitalist taxpayers to bail them out, but we go after the assets of professors in colleges and universities, that there's some hope there. But for the most part, no. The millennials, I think, are gone. And the primary reason I wrote this book was to use them as an example to warn future generations. So hopefully we could say future generations. But I honestly, given how indoctrinated and how agency-less and purposeless their lives are now, they got nothing but their politics, and they're not coming out of that anytime soon.
Yeah, that's depressing. Yeah, it's going to be real hard to red pill those people because they know everything. And
right, yeah, yeah, and their solution is other people's money, because this professor who told me to major in this and I can't find a job, he says I'm oppressed and disadvantaged or whatever, and I'm entitled to BGI, and so it's almost an AIDS autoimmune deficiency virus in their thinking, where you can't get them to think anything else. So I've largely given up, and that's why I'm kind of hoisting them up as an example, because you're not gonna reason with them, but you might slap them across the face and insult them to the point that they say, "Hey, wait a minute, he's saying mean things about us." Like, yeah, well, you're not listening, so we might as well, it's triage. You're not savable. You're gonna die. So we might as well go and save Gen Z or whoever comes after them, and use you as an example for everybody else to learn from.
I love it, and it's so true. It's really hard to red pill people when they don't want to be red pilled. And I've seen this over and over and over again, because look, when you know something and you know history and you know what's going on, or at least have an idea, it's real easy to cause cognitive dissonance to these people. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world. You basically just have to say, well, 2 + 2 = 4. And that will send their brains into overdrive, right?
Right. And it's so bad, Carey, that this is going to be the second to last quote unquote real book I write for the foreseeable future. I'm sure down the road I will. But I have, in doing the research for this book, not to mention working in my other ventures, my next book that I'm going to write is not going to be under my name. It's going to be under a pen name. And it's going to be lies, because there's just so much more money to be made, and
more
so much easier to sell lies. It is a book of lies, and I won't say what it is or who it's targeted to, but it's going to make probably a lot more money than any one of these serious books that, warning people about a housing bubble or an education bubble. Yeah. People don't want to hear it. They want to hear the lies.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. They want lies. They can't handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson once said. But unfortunately, Captain Capitalism is there to tell you the truth. And you just find him at, what's your blog address again?
You can go to captaincapitalism.blogspot.com, and then my consulting company, which is aholeconsulting.com, but it's not spelled a-hole. It's spelled the whole way, crass way,
with the two S's in it, and
with the two S's.
And how's that going? You still got clients coming in?
More than ever. Yeah, I actually doubled my prices this year, and
good move.
It didn't affect volume, so that's good. But I had to kind of put that on not the back burner, but it's full time. It's full time.
Well, your volume probably went up because now it's more valuable because you're charging more, right?
The volume didn't change, people pay, I'll play. But I have a feeling, sadly, speaking back to the millennials again, how people like lies, I have a feeling with the number of broken homes and how we're still telling kids to major and whatever they want, the money will follow. I have a feeling A-hole Consulting has a very bright and stable future ahead of it, because there's going to be plenty of people who want the truth when they're 30 or 40.
There's no shortage of a-holes. We know that. Anyway, Aaron, hey, always a pleasure. Hey, come visit Aaron's site and come visit our site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Questions, comments, or you want to retain Aaron's services at A-Hole Consulting, the email address kl@carreylutz.com, Twitter feed @carreylutz, Facebook page is Financial Survival Network, as well as our home site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Aaron, it's been too long. We will talk to you again. Maybe we get together soon, and we'll go out dancing.
We will. Salsa dancing, absolutely.
Hey, you got it, man. I'm up for it. All right, well, come down to Florida, and we'll dance the night away.
All right, see you, buddy.
Be well.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.